Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get it on. Get it on. Coming at you from a secret backwoods location in the middle of Texas. It's the highly opinionated and controversial voice of traditional old-school Orthodox Christianity. This is Spiritual Combat with Dr. Scott Sullivan.
Hello, and welcome to Spiritual Combat, the show where we engage the enemy using prayer, fasting, and full contact logic on the front lines and in the trenches, inviting you to join the resistance against the forces of lies, error, and evil. I am your host, Scott Sullivan, and welcome to the show. All right, so today I want to talk about this new movie that just came out, a documentary called Fight Church. And what this is a documentary done that's examining the question of the morality of mixed martial arts, MMA, in relation to Christian ethics. And I have a particular interest in this film since I am in it. And I want to do a podcast about this simply because, given the way the movie was edited, my views did not come out with clarity, to say the least. I mean, we spent about 4 hours. The film crew spent about 4 hours interviewing me on this topic, and the way it came out, after it was edited, I think 99.9% of what I said ended up on the cutting room floor, and so I think my whole spots were just reduced to a matter of 3 to 5 minutes. And I'm not blaming the editors or the producer or anything at all of Fight Church. That's just the way it came out. I'm on good terms with the producer. I like him. It's just that I want to make sure that my views are clear, because the way my parts were edited, it was ambiguous at best, and so I just want to clarify things. So here's the issue. The whole point of the movie, Fight Church, is to examine the compatibility of mixed martial arts competition with Christian morality. And let me start off with a couple of points here, because these need to kind of be put out front. For the most part in the movie and outside the movie, really, for the most part, discussion on the morality of this issue remains on an emotional level. Those who like it want to rationalize it. Well, it's okay. Those who don't like it want to just rationalize it away. Well, that's clearly wrong. And there's not a whole lot of reasoned argument involved. So I want to try to do my best to bring the voice of reason to this issue, because otherwise one's emotional attachments will color their moral evaluation, to say the least. We want to avoid all this and be rational. The second point I want to bring out before I kind of get into this issue is that we need to realize that for many of us, at least, our morality is influenced by our culture. We can't help it. Our morals are influenced by the cultural norm, and it's very hard to resist that. And MMA today, MMA fighting that is a widely accepted form of recreation. People just accept it as a wholesome form of recreation. And for this reason, well-intending people may disagree. You may end up disagreeing with me on this, and that's okay. But I'm not here to condemn anyone. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm not here to say MMA competition should be illegal, even though I'm going to argue that it's immoral. Not all immoral things should be illegal. Again, I just want to make public my position, my moral evaluation of MMA, because it just didn't come across in the film. All right? Most of what I said didn't even get put in there, and what I did say was jumbled around. All right, so with that being said, now we kind of set the groundwork, I think, for a discussion of the morality of mixed martial arts competition. Now, I am not a pacifist by any means. I believe in a just war. I believe in self-defense. I believe violence can be used for a morally sufficient reason, and I think that is what is consistent with the Christian ethic. I'm not going to go into the whole justification for a just war regarding Christian morality here. I'm just going to lay this out up front, that I am not opposed to things like just war, self-defense, and so on. I firmly believe in these things. I also firmly believe in the benefits of mixed martial arts training. Look, I do it all the time. I have a gym that teaches mixed martial arts. I have a video company that produces instructional videos on martial arts. I'm not opposed to any of that. Martial arts training is a great thing to do. It's great for fitness. It's great for self-defense. It's great for building up your confidence. It's good for all of these things. It's a good thing. So I am not opposed to any of that. So you got to understand, the question on the table right now is not mixed martial arts training or martial arts practice or sparring. It's not any of that. The question on the table now is mixed martial arts fighting, full contact cage fighting. Is that justifiable according to Christian morality? Is it justifiable according to Christian morality to punch, kick, knee, elbow a man full force in the head as hard as you possibly can for the purpose of fame, pride, exhibiting your physical dominance, and maybe even a little bit of money? Is that justified under Christian morality? So I've narrowed the scope here very much of what I'm talking about. Is when you look at the principal reasons why young men get into mixed martial arts competition, honestly, look at it honestly. Don't try to color it. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Why do young guys want to get into a cage and start pounding each other? Well, come on. Let's be honest. It's fame. It's pride. You get to exhibit your physical dominance, and you get paid a little money. That's what I'm talking about. Are those reasons a morally sufficient reason to blast someone's head off? You see. There very well could be other reasons, other morally sufficient reasons to blast someone's head off. You got a home invasion or something, or you're out with your wife and you're attacked. There are good reasons, I think, to blast someone's head off, all right? What I'm asking right now, let me make this clear because people just get confused. What I'm asking right now is fame, pride, physical dominance, and a little bit of money a good reason to blast someone's head off according to Christian morality? I made it very clear about what I'm talking about here, I think. And, if some people don't get it, I just, what are you going to say? And look, we got to look at this rationally, okay? It doesn't matter what you like. I'll be honest with you. I like watching mixed martial arts. I do. When I'm walking in, I don't do it anymore, but it's on TV all the time, right? So just the other day, I was in a restaurant with my kids, and UFC came on Fox. I can't help looking at it. I'm into martial arts. I like watching that stuff. I just do. So I'm with a lot of you guys on that. I like to watch it. I like to see. I don't really watch it. I don't think I watch it to see someone get blasted. I'm kind of more of I take a technical aspect and see what's working and so on. But still, I can't help it. I like watching mixed martial arts. But that doesn't morally justify it. It doesn't matter what you like. It could still be wrong. It doesn't matter that it's consensual. Just, the two guys agree to be in there. That doesn't make it okay. Fornication is consensual. That doesn't make it morally okay according to Christian principles. It doesn't matter that it often results in a closer bond between the two parties. Yeah, it usually does. When the guys get done fighting, they kind of have more respect for each other. They hug each other. They're friends now, etc. But just because it results in a closer bond between the two parties, that doesn't make it morally justifiable. Adultery could result in a closer bond too. No, so we have to look at the issue rationally according to the principles of Christian morality. So what are those principles, right? Well, there are a few things to look at when making a moral evaluation. Traditionally speaking, you look at the act itself, you look at the intention, and you look at the surrounding circumstances. And if any one of these is bad, the action is wrong and sinful. Now, in our case, we don't have to go too far here, quite frankly. We don't need to look at all three, because the act itself, the moral act, I think, is bad and sinful. Moral act here being hitting, kicking, kneeing someone in the head as hard as you can for the purposes of fame, pride, demonstrating your physical superiority, and a little money. This moral act, I think, is clearly sinful under the principles of the fifth commandment, thou shalt not kill. Other things follow from that, lesser things. Thou shalt not beat the crap out of someone either without a morally sufficient reason. Now, in virtue of this fifth commandment, only a most grave reason could justify inflicting serious wounds or injuries or violence upon another. You could do so in self-defense. You could do so in terms of a just war. You could do so in terms of a civil authority punishing a criminal. These are morally justifiable reasons. But kneeing someone in the face as hard as you possibly can, for a little bit of glory, a little bit of money, that I think is clearly not a morally sufficient reason. That is not a grave reason to injure a fellow human being who is created in the image of God like that. Now, I know some people say, well, look, man, it's his body, it's his head. He agreed to get in there. So he voluntarily, signed on to that. I understand that. That's true. But this idea that it's just my body, I can do whatever I want with it, that's not true. That's not true in terms of, you may think that, a kind of our American individualist culture, it's just me, that sort of lends to that, but that's not Christian morality. Christian morality is that God alone has direct dominion over man's body. And no, you can't do whatever you want with your body. That idea is pervasive. It comes up under issues of abortion, too. I can do whatever I want with my body. No, you can't. Not according to Christian morality. Christian morality is that God alone has dominion over your body. You can't just do whatever you want with it. You can't dispose of your own body however you wish. You may not, without a proportionately grave reason, intend to harm another. Let's be honest. In mixed martial arts, the fighter tries to hit his opponent in the head as often and as hard as he can, as hard and as often as his skill will permit. There's a lot of medical evidence coming out now, guys. This is not healthy for your brain. Even little hits over time are not good for your brain. Brain weighs about 3 pounds. It's sitting in fluid in your cranium. It floats around, blows to the head, causes your brain to bounce around in there. That's not good for you. It's not good for your brain to bang around against the sides of your skull. What amount of money, what amount of fame can justify that? You see, there is not a proportionately grave reason here. This is a vital organ that is being attacked. And that's precisely why this is a serious issue. That's precisely why the act here, the matter, what's being done here is grave. It's serious because of the importance of this organ that is being attacked. It's your brain, dude. You need that. So this is the principal problem, I think, with MMA competition. Not MMA training, not MMA sparring, not grappling, not wrestling. No, this is particular to full contact striking sports like mixed martial arts, a sport that involves a directly injurious intent. That's precisely what mixed martial arts, that sort of thing, does. The immediate object of this sport, the principal thing that you're trying to do when you knee someone in the face as hard as you can, the immediate thing you're trying to do is to damage the other guy. You're trying to damage the opponent so he can't fight anymore. The whole sport is built on this injurious intent. Other sports are different. Other rough sports are different. Other sports where injuries occur are different in this regard. In other sports where one may get hurt, the immediate object, what you're trying to do, is something else. I understand one of the most dangerous sports, perhaps maybe the most dangerous sport, is horse racing. But there's no injurious intent there. They're not trying to hurt each other, not trying to hurt themselves. The injuries come accidentally, outside of the competitor's intention. With other sports, the object is something else other than hurting the other guy. You're trying to make a goal, you're trying to cross the finish line, etc. So injuries there are incidental to the sport. They are not essential to the sport. In mixed martial arts, come on, let's be honest, guys. The injury is the direct object. It's what you're directly intending to do. You're trying to smash his face. You're trying to cut his eye with an elbow, bloody his nose, break his nose, etc. And like I said, studies show that the long-term cumulative damage is there too. Now, most fighters don't intend that. They're not trying to cause this guy permanent brain damage over time, for sure. But still, the means they are choosing are directly injurious nonetheless. So according to Christian ethic, man just does not possess the right to inflict damage on other men in this way, nor can he allow it to himself. Men are bound to care for themselves and others, according to Christian morality. Now, if you don't accept the principles of Christian morality, that's fine. I'm not arguing right here that you should. Remember, the topic of discussion is simply this: is mixed martial arts competition justifiable under the principles of Christian morality? We're not talking about if you accept Christian morality or not. That's not what we're talking about. Under the principles of Christian morality, it is extremely difficult to justify mixed martial arts competition. Pounding other people's faces in for sport, money, fame surpasses the bounds of reasonable stewardship. We are our brother's keepers, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm saying here, simply here, that according to the principles of Christian morality, any sport where the intent to harm is central is immoral. It is sinful. This is what reason tells us. I wish it were some other way, to be perfectly honest with you. I miss the sin. Well, I'll just be honest. The sinful part of me misses watching that stuff. I told you before, I like watching that stuff. I'm with you guys, you pro MMA guys. I'm with you on that. Just because I like it doesn't make it right. We have to use reason. Reason needs to be in control of our passions and our likes. We don't let those passions and likes dominate our reason. You see. So that's the principal argument, I think, against mixed martial arts, is that the intent of injury is central to the sport. You could say a secondary problem, and this actually did come out a little bit in the movie. They actually did include a thing I said on this, is that it is something that happens to the spectators. Look at the crowd at your typical mixed martial arts competition. Is what's going on in the cage fostering brotherly love? Is it fostering brotherly stewardship? Or does it unduly encourage a brutish nature in men? Clearly, it's the latter, guys. Honesty is important here, all right? The sport does seem to provoke people to take pleasure in the sufferings of another. Now, I think I can watch mixed martial arts and not fall prey to that, because I look at it from a technician point. I can look at it from a kind of a technician, instructor, coach point of view, again, to see what's working, etc. I don't think that happens to me as much, but typically it does happen to most people. Look at the crowd. The closer you get to a knockout, the crowd becomes frenzied, cheers, intensifies the fury. It does seem to foster brutality in the spectators. It does seem to canonize, in a way, brute force. And, unduly encouraging growth in those more brutish responses of our nature. But that is a secondary issue. I do say that the intent of injury is the principal argument against things like mixed martial arts competition. It's also the reason why typical objections don't work, like the football objection. I hinted at this a while ago. Well, people get hurt in football too. People get hurt more in football. Well, that may be true, but the difference is that you can achieve the game's purpose without intentionally trying to injure someone in football. You can't say that with MMA. There's no way you can say that with MMA. You can't possibly say without contradiction that kicking someone in the head as hard as you can, you do that, but, well, I didn't mean to hurt him. The very action itself hurts him. You cannot say, I am going to knee this guy in the head as hard as I can, but I'm not trying to hurt him. That's ridiculous. The very point of that knee to the head is to hurt him. And as I said in the movie, which this has been been broadcast everywhere. This one line that I said did get published everywhere. I mean, it's on USA Today, CNN. Sometimes it's misattributed to someone else in the movie, but I was the one that said it. Can you love your neighbor as yourself and then knee him in the head as hard as you can for the purposes of fame, money, glory, etc.? No. Clearly not. Now, a lot of the guys most of the guys in the movie disagreed with me, and they're pastors and so on. I disagree with them. They'll make vague appeals to the Bible, biblical appeals. Well, God commanded David to go to war, and wars commanded sometimes in the Bible. Yada 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 yada. Yeah, I know that. I've said Christian morality is not pacifistic. It does allow for things like a just war. God does command war in the Bible. War itself is not morally evil. But that doesn't mean violence for any reason is morally permissible. Just because it's okay to fight and go to war sometimes, self-defense, country defending itself, that kind of thing, because it's permissible in those situations, it does not follow that therefore I can just get in this cage and beat this guy's brains out for pride, displaying my physical dominance, and a little bit of money. That does not follow, friends. Another argument that was presented in the movie was, well, look, you don't know how much training goes into these guys. Man, these guys work hard. They're very technically skilled. They spend a lot of time developing their talents. Yeah, of course they do. So what? How does that morally justify what's being done here? There's a lot of training and knowledge, etc., years of physics in building the atomic bomb. That doesn't mean you can just use an atomic bomb for whatever you want. I don't deny that there's a lot of training that goes into mixed martial arts fighters. I don't deny that they build a lot of virtue, discipline. Of course they do. That's some of the benefits that goes with martial arts training, which I endorse. That's not the issue on the table, darn it. The issue on the table is what I've been saying all along. Is it permissible under Christian morality to get into a cage and pound another dude's head in for the purposes of fame, pride, displaying your physical dominance, and a little bit of money? I don't see how. Well, so anyway, that's my argument. As I said, that did not come out in the film, but if you've listened this far in the podcast, at least now you know. And you're welcome to disagree with me. I'd be happy to change my mind if someone could show me otherwise. I've looked, and I haven't found any good reason to think otherwise. So again, you can take my argument or leave it. You're welcome to disagree with me, but that is my position on the morality of mixed martial arts in terms of Christian ethics. Again, nothing wrong with mixed martial arts training, nothing wrong with learning self-defense, nothing wrong with all that stuff. We're talking about the question here of, is mixed martial arts competition justifiable under the terms of Christian morality? And I say no. That's all we have time for today, folks. This is Scott Sullivan. Visit us on the web at www.scottmsullivan.com, where I have some more resources for you regarding Christian faith and apologetics, theology, and things of that nature. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. You can do that there on iTunes, or you can do it on your Droid device. Any device you have, you can subscribe to our podcast. That way you'll be notified when the next one comes out. I look forward to talking to you in the next episode of Spiritual Combat.
In your face with grace. You're listening to Spiritual Combat. Hardcore Catholic Radio. With Dr. Scott Sullivan. www.scottmsullivan.com.